I'm going to be making a simple armature using 4 bones, and so you start by adding a bone on here, rotating it by 90 degrees. When you go in edit mode, you can then, if you select the ball point at the end, you can use E to extrude one out, Y to put it on the Y axis, and then Control to snap it to the grid. So there, so I've got one there. And you can use Shift R to repeat it, which isn't working. Right. Try again. Right. Shift R, yeah. And then you're going to extrude it one more time, but just a little to make a control bone. So there, about. And then because these are all joined together, you don't want this one joined to it like that. So you need to use Alt P and clear parent, which will separate it. Then, if you go into pose mode, you can select the control bone at the end and then select this bone. You can use Shift I and make it an IK bone, and that'll start there. So now when I move this, it will all curve to follow along whatever this bone here is. And then this isn't important for this one, but if you select the yellow bone and go down to here, you can set how long the chain is. So if I put it up, so there's 4 bones it's controlling, so you want it to be at 4. At 0, it's just an unlimited length, so it'll go on forever. But right now that's not hugely important because there's only one chain of bones. And then, what else do you want to do? You want to move this up on the Z axis, move this in more of a leg shape. Now, if I move these around, they're going to start rotating and it doesn't look very normal. So you can actually limit the angles that it will rotate for each bone. So this one wants to lay flat, so if I go to inverse kinematics here, I can limit it on the Z-axis, no, X-axis, and it will lay it flat there. So I can move that up a bit, make it look a bit more normal. And then I want it to rotate on the Z-axis still, because it needs to rotate kind of this way. So I don't need it on the Y-axis moving. And that means that if I move this now, it can't move up, it can only move left and right. And these ones are a bit different, so you want these moving in a similar way to how they do here. You don't want them moving left and right individually though. So to do that, you sort of select the opposite. So these need to rotate on the X-axis. So if I lock these ones for all of them, and, you don't need to do it for this one though, because this one it won't have anything parented to it. So this one needs to be free, because if this one can't move on the on any of these, so if I lock these two specifically and I try and move it around, it won't be able to move the mesh properly. So that is that setup. And as well, if you go into edit mode, it goes into like a flat version of it, which is what it looks like in when you first built it. So it doesn't edit that. But if you wanted to change this into this shape, like the pose that it's currently in, if you use Control A, you can apply pose at rest position. Apply pose as rest pose, which then if you go back into edit mode, this is the default shape of it in edit mode. But I don't need to do that, that's sort of just how you do it. So if I go back to pose mode, yeah. and then I can now I can add a very simple mesh to it. So I'll start with a cube because why not, and I will shrink it down. X, Y, even more. Put up here. Alt Z to go into X-ray mode. Shrink it down on the Z axis just to make it fit a bit more. Yeah. Shift D to make another one. Another one. And another one. And then just I may as well rotate them to keep them more in line when I parent them. Like that. A bit more like that. Yeah. And then to actually link them to this one, again, doesn't need anything parented to it. But to link them is a bit more complicated, so I have to go into select this, go into pose mode, select this first bone here, then go back into object mode, deselect it, select this first and then select the bone, because otherwise it doesn't. And then if I click Control P, I can parent it to bone. But if I selected the bones first and then the cube second, it wouldn't give me this option. So if I link that there, then they are parented together. You can see there's a dotted line to the point of this bone, and then you just repeat it a few times. So again, bone, back out. Bone. Go object mode. This one, Control P. See, that's what happens if you do it in the wrong order. You can't actually parent it to the bone. So I need to select that and then select this and pair to bone, and then the last one back, and bone, and that should be it done. If I go out of X-ray, so in the actual render the bones will be invisible, you won't be able to see any of these. I mean, there's a way to make invisible, but you wouldn't want to do that. So now, if I go back into pose mode, I can move around where something. Obviously, there's some clipping bits there because I've just thrown some cubes on it. But if I move that around, this one here can only move left and right. Can only rotate left and right. And then these ones here, these three, can only rotate up or down. So again, if I do all that, it's got like each bone's got its own pattern that it can move across. Like so, I've limited the axis that it can move across, and that is how you can rig different models, just like that.